Hello, my name is Salvador Nunez, and today we are going to talk about why we should stop attacking Iran. What would occur if a single choice made today resulted in a war that affected millions of people of today and of the future? Global tensions and financial instability have risen significantly due to the current war with Iran. According to reporting from the institutions such as the United Nations and Reuters, strikes on Iran pose a threat of raising tensions, damage economies and innocent people, and obstruct peaceful solutions, which is why we ought to prevent them. First, I will go over the issue. Second, I will demonstrate its significance. Finally, I will offer a more effective solution and discuss our next steps. The likelihood of a more extensive conflict in the Middle East rises with ongoing military activity. Global safety and security, commercial shipments, and the world's energy resources are all impacted by conflict. Civilian communities experience financial strain, physical harm, and evacuation. So as you could see on the first slide that we have here, I had added two different graphs. And as you could also see on both graphs, they fluctuate up and down, but as you can see, it's more of a steady going upwards and downwards. On the left one, you can see it fluctuate, but if you read what they have, it's when something bad happens, basically prices shoot up, as we buy oil by the barrel. You could see right here how basically on the right hand side of the graph, pre-Brent price, $72 basically. And that's at like, yeah, $72 right there, 27th. But then, they declare that shoots up. As you can see, the difference from February 27th to the 5th of March, it does go up, not by a lot, but, little, obviously makes more as it goes. Named new Supreme Leader, that made a big impact, as you can see, maintained pretty steadily from March 12th to like the 18th, but there's still a gradual steady climb going upwards, as you can see all the way to March 18th. Like I said, it was going gradually up. Shot down a little bit when the US and Iran discussed, ending the war. As you can see, that shot down a little bit. But then, Iran joined war, went back up, as you can see, went up, went down, just basically up and down a lot. But whenever war stuff is in the talks, basically, it's bound for the prices to go up and obviously affects us today, and it will affect people of the future because I don't see it, going back down as, everything else basically going up. And same with the graph on the left-hand side, everything, goes up, down, just depending on the situation and what's going on in the world, basically. All right, let's go to the next slide. Just trying to find my cursor. Okay, so what happens if the attacks continue? So strikes will continue, risks of regional war, the gas prices, like we discussed, will continue to rise, civilian displacement, and stability in the economy. So dispute resolution and negotiations are probably the greatest options for us to go ahead and be able to find a solution, just because we need to be able to find solutions if the attacks continue, basically, because as you can see, all that is what's basically going to happen, and none of that is good. So we need to be able to find solutions for this. You'll be able to reactivate participation in global contracts and negotiations. So we're all having a word in this, being able to, come to an agreement, basically. Rather than using aggression, use persuasion by means of partnerships and consequences. That way they know if they do something they're not supposed to, they do have, consequences to their actions if it's, obviously not the best. um, action that they're doing. Conflicts have typically decreased as a result of political accords. Resolving disputes peacefully is encouraged by institutions such as United Nations. So I think those would be really good solutions to be able to, help out so none of this continues anymore because it's affecting all of us. So definitely not continue the war. It's making sure I'm covering everything. Okay, so over here we got another slide of war versus diplomacy. On the left-hand side, if we continued the attacks, basically, violence increases, of course, spending in military rises. As you know, a lot of money does go to the military in the United States, but all that's gonna keep going up. The harm of civilians increases. We don't want, innocent people basically to pay the actions for, other people, messing up and doing what they're not supposed to, basically. And the global tensions grows, more people start getting involved. It's not just United States versus Iran at that point anymore. Everyone's just getting involved just because they have their backs or they have our backs. And, it's that's how world war starts basically. And diplomacy, peace talks, I think that being able to talk it out instead of, sending bombs and nuclears and stuff like that to their place, that doesn't resolve anything. Peace talks would, be better. Cost lower, of course, everything will start finally shooting down as in, gas prices, groceries, just everything that has gone up lately, it will go down just because then when you're at peace, obviously no one's trying to, make a huge buck out of each other. We're just all trying to, come together, help each other, emergency assistance, same thing, being able to get some supplies from other countries and then from us, keeps everything at a lower cost. And stability improves, being able to stay on your feet for a longer time instead of, seeing all these fluctuations of everything going up and down every single time. That doesn't help anybody. So yeah, all my sources did come from Bookings Institutions, Council on Foreign Relations, International Crisis Group, Reuters.com, United Nations, and Harvard University.